Hello, welcome to, I think, possibly our final virtual numeracy lesson. So today I'm going to do a bit of a recap on multiplication strategies. And the strategies that we're going to be looking at are repeated addition, expanded column method, and the standard column method. So let's just begin with repeated addition. Remember, when we multiply, the number is going to get bigger because we're multiplying that number by a certain amount. So if we took, for example, let's just start simple, 2 times 3, that is the same as doing 2 add 2 add 2, because it is 3 lots of 2. So 2 add 2 is 4, add another 2 is 6. So if you're ever struggling with your multiplication, or you feel like you haven't learned your times tables well enough to just know it, then use repeated addition. So let's just do another example. If we had, let's say, 6 times 4, that is the same as 6 add 6 add 6 add 6. So 4 lots of 6. 6 add 6 is 12, add another 6 is 18, add another 6 is 24. Now, a really useful way to use this, if you know some of your times tables, is to use your times tables and then repeated addition. So let's say, for example, you wanted to know the answer to 7 times 7, okay? And you think, I don't know my 7 times table. I just don't even know where to start with that. Well, I bet you know your 5 times table. So what is 5 times 7, or 7 times 5? Well, that's 35. Now that would be 5 lots of 7. We're wanting to know 2 lots of 7. Sorry, we wanted to know 7 lots of 7. So that's only 2 more 7s. So you could do 35, add another 7, add another 7, and that would get us 7 lots of 7. So use what you know already to help you. So 35 add 7 is 42, add another 7 is 49. And that way you're not having to count 7 add 7 add 7 add 7 add 7. You already know 5 times 7, then you just count on another 2 7s from there. Let me just do one more example of that. Let's say you wanted to know, if you had the question 8 times 4, okay? 8 times 4. So that is the same as 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. But if you knew what 3 times 8 was, so 8 times 3, if you knew what that was, so you knew that was 24, then you just need to add one more 8 to that, and you'll get your answer to 8 times 4, because you've done 8 times 3, which is 3 lots of 8, and you're wanting to know 4 lots of 8. So you just need to add one more 8, which gets you to 32. So that is how to use repeated addition. You're just adding the same number, the amount of times you're needing to multiply it by. And you can use your knowledge of your times tables to add on to get an answer that you weren't sure of in your times tables. Okay, so if you aren't very confident with multiplication, I would stick to this method until you start to understand your times tables and get to grips with it and feel more confident, okay? But if you feel you need a little bit more of a challenge, let's look at the expanded column method. So let's say I had the sum 24 times 5. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, we've got our 10s and our 1s, remember? The first thing I'm going to do is multiply the 10s. So we need to do, our first step is 20, because remember that 2 there is in the 10s column, so it's 20 times 5. And 20 times 5, well, we know that 2 times 5 is 10, but it's 20 times 5, which means 10 times that amount, so 100. Or you could do 20 and 20 and 20 and 20, which equals 100. So 20 times 5 is 100. Then our next step is going to be multiplying the ones. So 4 times 5 is 20. And then our last step is to add these together. So 100 add 20 equals 120. So that is our answer to 24 times 20. So we're basically writing each step out at a time. We multiply the 10s, then we multiply the 1s. Let me show you another one. So let's do 67 times 3. So again, we're going to start with our 10s column first. Remember that's 60, not just 6, because it's in the 10s column. 60 times 3. Well, we know that 6 times 3 is 18, but it's 60 times 3, which means it's 10 times that amount. So it will be 180. Then our second step is to multiply the 1s. So that's 7 times 3, which equals 21. And then our last step is to add these together. So 180 add 21 equals 201. So that method you really use to make sure you don't get lost in what you're doing. Remember, if you're multiplying a 2-digit number, if you're multiplying the 10s first, then the 1s, then add them all together, you've multiplied that whole number. So the last thing I'm going to show you, well, what I would advise is if you struggle with the next method, if you think, oh, I don't know what's going on there, please use this one so that you're writing exactly what's happening. Because the column method, the normal column method, is essentially the same thing. It's just like a shortcut method. So I'm just going to use the exact same sum. So 24 times 5 was our first one. But I'm just going to show you how to do it without having to write it all out. So 20, I've already forgotten what the sum is. 24 times 5. I swear my memory is just getting worse and worse. 24 times 5. Okay. So in the column method, we deal with the 1s column first, okay, rather than writing all out. 4 times 5. Well, we know 4 times 5 is 20. So we'll put our 0 here, because it's 0 1s and 20. And we'll carry our 2 10s over. Now you can either put your 10s up here. I just don't have much room. You can put them up there if you wanted. And then we multiply the 10s. So 20 times 5 we know is 100, but we've also got our 20 down there. So 120. 120. Okay, so this is a shortcut method because you are aware of the fact that that is the tens column, that's the ones column. So when you multiply, you carry over any tens to the tens column and then add on your tens once you've multiplied the tens. Okay, which is why if you don't understand that, it's important to write out exactly what is happening. So let me show you again with another one. 67 times 3. So 67 times 3. So first thing we need to do is multiply our 1. So 7 times 3 is 21. So put our 1 in the ones column, carry over our 20 into the tens column. We'll add that once we've multiplied the tens. So let's multiply the tens. 6 times 3 is 18. So 60 times 3 is 180. But we need to add our 20 to the 180, which gives us 200. So our answer is 201. Okay, so again, we did that over here, but we wrote it out in 3 separate steps so that we knew exactly what we were doing. So let me show you another one with a 3-digit number, because that's what I've put as a spicy challenge. So if I had, let's do 273 times, let's do times 3, okay? So 3 times 3 is 9. We don't have anything to carry over there because 9 doesn't have any tens in it. 7 times 3 is 21. Remember, that's 70, okay? So we put our, 70 times 3 will be 210. So we put our 10 there and we put our 200 in the, why is it doing that? I don't know why it does that sometimes. Let's put it up here then. Nope, doesn't want to do it. So we put our 200 over there, okay? And then we have to times the hundreds. Sorry, I should have put these at the top to remind you. 200 times 3 is 600. But remember, we've got our 200 down here. So it would be 600 out of 200, which would be 800. So our answer would be 819. So the way we did that was we multiplied the ones. We didn't have anything to carry over. Then we multiplied the tens and we had to carry over some hundreds. And then we multiplied the hundreds and added the 200 that we had carried over. I'll do one more to finish us off. And then you can decide what level you would like to work at. The last one we'll do is, let's just do 462 times, we'll do 6 this time. Okay, so 2 multiplied by 6 is 12. So 12 has 2 ones, carry over our 10. 6 times 6 is 36. Remember though, that will be 60 times 6, which is 360. Add our 10, 370. So put our 7 tens in the tens column, carry over our 300. 400 times 6. Well, 4 times 6 is 24. So 400 times 6 is going to be 2,400. Add our 300 will be 2,700. So our final answer is 2,772. So if you use this method, you must remember to carry over. And if you think you're going to get confused by that or forget, then that's why I'm suggesting to use the expanded column method. And if you still find that a bit too much, just continue to use repeated addition until you feel fully confident in multiplication. So that was our 3 strategies. Let me know which one you are wanting to work on and choose your chili challenge.